It's primary week. On Tuesday, voters will take to the polls, if they haven't already, to vote for who they want to see in the general election. Voters can cast ballots for races all across the spectrum, including Charlotte City Council, Mecklenburg County Sheriff, congressional districts, and one of North Carolina's Senate seats. Joining us today, Mecklenburg County Elections Director Michael Dickerson. Mr. Dickerson, good to see you, my friend.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, generally speaking, what are the trends we're seeing so far when it comes to early voting?
Well, we've seen a good number of people come out. Obviously, in this county, we have more Democrats than Republicans, so you'll have more of those. You've got a good number of the unaffiliates are breaking for the Democratic ballot, so we noticed that on our list of people that are coming out to vote. So those are good numbers. Now, how it turns out to reflect what Election Day looks like will be completely up to the voters, but so far so good, and the system's working really working well.
How do we compare to, say, past years as far as this point in the sort of early voting?
Yes, I think early voting is starting to become more dominant. We're probably about 35-40% higher than what we did 4 years ago in early voting in a comparable election. So that's a really good number. And you know as well as I do, Ben, we've done this long enough, your primaries don't generally get 20 or 30% of the folks out. We're lucky if we can get 10 to 15% of the voters out for a primary. So if that's the case, your early voting numbers are really looking strong for being about half of what we're going to probably see, or 40% of what we're going to see in an overall turnout.
I was going to say, so overall turnout, what are you expecting?
Well, like I said, you generally see 10-11%. This year, since you've got redistricting going on, and we've got 2 congressional seats that both sides are competitive. You've got a U.S. Senate race, both sides which are competitive. You should see more. And plus, you've got on this ballot, which is the really strange part, is I have City of Charlotte primary on a midterm ballot. So we're hoping to get about 15% show up. Those would be good numbers. Realistically, anywhere between that 11 to 15 is where we expect to see for this May primary.
That said, we know a lot of people do not vote, especially in a year like this, in a primary, which, as you know, is where some of the big decisions are made. So it could often be that only a few thousand people are picking these candidates. How do you push more people to vote in a primary?
That's just it. First off, the biggest thing we did was offer 16 early voting sites from the get-go. From the first day that early voting was available, my board said open them all up, and open them up from 8 o'clock in the morning till 7:30 at night, and run them through the process. That was the biggest thing we did. We've also encouraged the absentee by mail with the absentee by mail portal.
This is the first time folks are voting since 2020. We know that there were claims of elections being stolen back then. While untrue, there are still some people still skeptical about that. How do you ease the minds of folks out there that this is a completely safe, secure method of voting?
Sure. And what we do is we let people know that we have tested the process, we have made sure it's secure, and we have audited the process. Again, but you and I know this. We've been doing this for years. It is a whole process completely offline. It never touches the internet. There's nothing on the internet. There's no way somebody can hack into the process of voting itself. We use a touch screen machine that produces a hand card that you can, or a paper card that you can then put in your hands and look at before you run it through the tabulator. So you've got all that. We've tested that equipment before it goes out, just like everybody else in this state. We've tested that equipment to make sure it's going to work.
So after this primary in May, what happens after that? There's a city election in July, I believe. Is that what happens?
Correct. Correct. We've got a city election July 26 for their general election, and that election will will cover all these mayor, the city council at large, and the city council districts. So that will be that. Now, if there's a need for a second primary anywhere in the county, that would also be had on the 26th. But I don't think we're looking at that right now. The general election for everybody else after the city of Charlotte general election on July will be straight up November the 8th. So sort of like a rapid procession here of May 17th, July 26th, and then got a couple months off, and then you look at November 8th as being your general election day for all of your midterm elections.
I hope folks at home were taking notes on all of that, because
Don't bother. We'll talk about this again, I am sure. But it is very it's sort of a convoluted year this year, where you, like you said, you threw your city of Charlotte into a midterm election. It's never happened in my 23-year tenure. So you've got something new going on this year. Worry about 17th of May. First, we'll get to July 26th after this primary, and we'll have our general election in Charlotte, and then the general election for everybody else later.
Folks at home, I have been interviewing Michael Dickerson for the better part of the past 15 years, and you will not find somebody who's more enthusiastic and engaged when it comes to his job and his role in the democracy. Michael Dickerson, thank you as always. I do appreciate it.